Hey everyone, Jake from Barnstorm. I want to give you a little how-to breakdown on how we do knee cuts on gas tanks. So this is how we did the Challenger knee cut details. So this is kind of a step-by-step of the overall process of how we do it. So let's get into it. I've created a flexible shape pattern here. That's what I'm removing from the gas tank. It's a layered tape assembly that captures information in complex shapes like sheet metal items. Learned this technique from Ray Chalene of Pro Shaper. It's actually normally used to capture shaping information and then shape sheet metal, but I've used them to create reusable templates that store information for knee cuts and other types of things because they're an easy way to reuse the information and duplicate stuff. So create the flexible shape pattern. Now I'm creating a smaller flexible shape pattern that will define the profile of our actual knee cut. Once I'm happy with that, I will transfer it to the flexible shape pattern, the big one, transfer it, trace it, mirror it to the other side so I have two symmetrical outlines, and then I'll actually perforate the larger flexible shape pattern with a bunch of small holes, because then I can transfer with a Sharpie through those holes onto the actual gas tank and end up with my cut line, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm just perforating it and I'll transfer to the gas tank. Once I've got it laid out, I'll check it on the bike real quick, make sure everything's 100% good, and then I'll bring it into the fab room and start cutting the tank with a 4.5-inch angle grinder and a cutoff wheel. Nothing fancy. I'll rough out the shape that way, the pocket that way, and then I'll take maybe a carbide burr, some files, and just clean it up. Make sure I get everything really nice, really symmetrical, clean lines, and then I will make a paper template of that hole, transfer that paper template onto sheet metal, and then I'll start cutting out my sheet metal side panels. So this is kind of the tedious part of the process. I use various hammers, dollies, my knee, sometimes a shrinker stretcher, and basically I just keep refining the sheet metal panel until I get a very nice fit on the gas tank. I'm looking for basically where the new sheet metal panel lines up with the edge of the tank to create like a 45-degree pocket that the weld material will lay into. So once I get it as really good, as good as I can, and I really spend a lot of time making sure I get my fit really well, because once you lay your weld in there, get it tacked up, finish weld it, then you're going to want to dust your weld down. And if you don't have that kind of 45-degree V where you lay your weld in, you risk grinding your weld back off and having the metal not actually connected. So another important part of this process is actually tacking it up so you maintain that spacing and that V all the way around. That's what I'm doing here. So you kind of want to bounce around with your tacks, not just tack all in one spot. And not shown is the finish welding. I lost that footage, sorry, but I get it all finish welded, like I said, in that nice V pocket. And then I dust off just the high spots of the weld. I leave all of the base material, and I only try to really remove weld that I've added. I'll use the angle grinder with a flap wheel, and then usually I'll clean it up with a file and some other hand tools till I get it really good. I'm shooting for as smooth as possible, as even as possible, so when we give it to Brendan Parsons, our painter, he doesn't have to do a lot of body work, and you end up with nice clean lines, smooth transitions, and I think the end result here speaks for itself. It came out really good, very ergonomic. I think that it fits with the style of that gas tank very well. The Challenger tank lends itself to these knee cuts really well. So anyway, thanks for looking. If you have any questions, send us a message. Happy to answer it, and see you later.